Play.
Regarding the women's final, which of course will be tomorrow, we're going to see Aryna Sabalenka in her third consecutive Madrid final. But we're not going to see her face the familiar foe, the person that she's played in the previous two. It's going to be Coco Gauff, because Coco Gauff yesterday beat Iga Swiatek 6-1, 6-1. What has been the reaction in Poland and elsewhere, and even in the mind of Damien Kuss to that?
I'm in Portugal, so I don't know what the reaction is like in Poland. I mean, it's not like it's a singular thing, right? It's more of a continuation of what's been happening to Iga over the past many months. So while this is like kind of the sharpest moment that we've seen so far, there's also the question of like what happens in Rome and Roland Garros, but because these are the events where she usually is going to be, well, the biggest favorite of possible favorites on the WTA circuit. So it's not quite, dramatic to that point yet, I think. But obviously everybody is wondering who to fire, really, whether it should be Daria or Wim. That's pretty much the main thing. And yeah, I mean, 6-1, 6-1, that's going to be tough to handle. It kind of feels like she undermined all the good work that she did during that week, in terms of winning all these tough matches, getting back to some encounters that she was out of. And yeah, I mean, presently, you gotta remember what, Rome, Roland Garros, they are coming. They are probably going to be a bit better, but it's just tough to see her as like an overwhelming favorite to win anything at this stage.
She wins Rome, and I think we're sort of much more confident about her chances.
Depending on the style, but yeah.
In Paris, but we'll see. Anyway, that was a bruising defeat for her. There's a stat about the last time she lost in such a manner, right? Is it like 5 years ago or something like that?
Oh, I mean,
there's a couple of stats about that loss that are sort of kind of fairly novel for her. Yeah,
Ostapenko recently was 3 games.
It might be the clay factor. Then it was 1-1 on clay.
Before that, it was a couple of years. But anyway, she also got bageled by Keys in this event, which was the first time in clay since 2019, first time overall since 2021.
Any area of Iga's game that Wim has improved, or between them? I think
every area. I mean, just honestly thinking. I mean, not panicking on the court, mental side of it. Everything else is irrelevant, to be honest. I mean, obviously she still doesn't serve too well. That's always going to be a thing, at least for now. But mostly just clarity of thought on the court. Yeah, not going into panic mode. Internalizing any of the ideas that Fisset seems to have for her.
I think there's a trust issue there going on, and we've seen it manifest itself from time to time. But she needs to probably pursue this a bit longer, in my opinion. But we'll see if she does have that patience.
Trust issue, but between who? Daria Wim or Iga Wim? Or I mean, we just don't know. But yeah.
Well, Vanch says he thinks he knows that their relationship between Iga and Wim will be done within 2 months, is what he tweeted yesterday.
I mean, that's not really Iga's decision, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, Coco Gauff was there to take advantage, and take advantage she did, storming into her first ever Madrid final. Coco as well has had a pretty rough year, I would say, certainly since that loss to Badosa in Australia. That seemed to knock her sideways, and she's not been in a final since, but now she is in Madrid. Of course, I guess she benefits, gets a bit more pop in Madrid than it might do elsewhere. I remember Coco in 2023. I mean, all players have, good wins, bad losses, etc. But that loss that she had to Badosa in Madrid, I think it was 6-3, 6-love in 2023, and Badosa was just bullying that forehand, or not even bullying it, just giving it, and Gauff obliging. That at least seems like a long time ago, at least in terms of this particular tournament in Madrid. And yeah, I'm going to have a quick look at her path to the final elsewhere. I'm just wondering who else she's beaten en route, actually.
Yastremska, obviously, in the second round, love 6 opening set. She survives that, and she kind of picks herself up.
Yeah, right.
Bencic Andreeva against Mira. There were these 2 set points where Mira completely collapses. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a back in form. With Coco, everything feels weird because after the first 9 matches, we would have said she probably like finishes the year number 1 or whatever. And we still don't know if it's just like Brad Gilbert came in and did amazing work with her for like 2 months. Matt Daly came in and it was pretty much the same, and then there's a drop off that is kind of not really understandable. A lot of the issues with the forehand and the second serve just come back right away. I mean, she's done well, obviously, in the last few rounds to avoid that. And now she's in the final, which is amazing for her. It's 5-4 for her in the head-to-head. And what I like about this head-to-head as well is like whatever sample you look at, it's basically tied. Like last 2 matches, tied. Last 4 matches, tied. Last 6 matches, tied. Last 8 matches, tied. So, she has to have at least a punch chance for sure. And that win against Iga, she served great. I mean, definitely. But still didn't really feel like a win where, she has to show something unbelievable. But it has to be a confidence builder.
On the other side of the net, as I say, will be Aryna Sabalenka, her 3rd final in a row. She's won 1 and lost 1. She's also won Madrid twice. I think she won it a few years before, right?
21 and 23. Lost in the final last year, as you said. 22, she lost to Anisimova in the opening round.
She also had 1 match point or 2 match points last year?
3.
Oh, wow, 3. In what was arguably the WTA match of the year.
Not arguably.
It was our match of the year.
Clearly, obviously, visibly, apparently the match of the year.
Yeah, I would say so too. Although I think that the expression arguably, funnily enough, is often used in the case of when it's likely to have been, even though it sounds a bit contradictory given the word is arguable. So Sabalenka, anyway, she is in the final. She won her semi-final against Svitolina. Kostyuk wasn't in the semi-final. Svitolina.
The other way around.
Kostyuk quarterfinal, Svitolina semi-final. Did you see the controversy or hear about the controversy she had in her quarterfinal with Kostyuk? So there was a few spots of rain, and she said that one of them went in her eye, and therefore she wasn't able to take her second serve. They went off court, and when they came back on court, she, of course, had that first serve back. So that is...
Doesn't sound too controversial, to be honest.
I mean, to me, it does. I think she should have played the second serve. It's just a few spots of rain. She obviously wants to win the point, and she wants to win the tennis match.
But if you went off the court, then that clearly means that the umpire also decided that.
Yeah, but there's not, the decision wasn't made from the umpire. She went to the umpire and said, look, this rain is getting too much.
Yeah, but if the umpire decided that it's
the umpire should have been stronger.
Then the umpire just says,
the umpire needs to be stronger. Yeah, absolutely. But it's controversial.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm just basing this on the description. I haven't seen it, but I mean, it's obviously not up to her to stop playing.
Absolutely.
So, if the umpire decided that the rain is indeed getting a bit too heavy, then she deserved the first serve back, I guess.
Yeah, but she should have been stronger. I think the umpire there. But anyway, Aryna took advantage and ends up going through in straight sets. She's the favorite in the final, right?
I think so. I think anytime they're playing in like relatively quick conditions, I've been going with Aryna with, let's say mixed results, because there is that US Open final, for example. But yeah, sure. I do think she is kind of like a machine this year, really. If she won the Australian Open final, she would be having like a flawless season almost. And yeah, I just think in Madrid, especially, she's almost unstoppable. Typically, she's definitely going to be like the player controlling things. We've seen Coco produce some amazing defensive performances against her, including that US Open final. Typically, I tend to favor Aryna a little bit especially in conditions like that. But I'm not, obviously you can't be like uber certain about it. Also, Sabalenka has already played a few, let's say, defensively oriented players this week, and she's held up okay. So maybe that will help her a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to go against Sabalenka in Madrid, basically. Anisimova, it's like one of her worst matchups on tour. She lost to her. Swiatek, of course, it was a titanic effort last year to beat Aryna. So why not?
I mean, her year has been pretty mega in terms of just making finals left, right, and center. The final in Stuttgart, the final in Miami, final in Indian Wells. It was just that Middle East bit that she just seemed to be undermotivated for, as she has been in others. Final in Australia, final in Brisbane. I guess the sort of negative spin on it is that she's lost more finals than she's won. She won Brisbane, she lost the final in Australia, she lost the final in Indian Wells, then won in Miami, but then also lost in Stuttgart to Yelena Ostapenko just a couple of weeks ago. But we both think she's winning this one, right?
Yeah, she's easily kept up her status of the best player in the world so far. And yeah, I mean, against Gauff here, I have to treat her as the favorite, especially on probably one of her favorite courts. I guess maybe even her favorite, really, on tour. I don't know. Is there an event that she's dominating quite like that? I guess Wuhan she was.
Australian Open?
Oh yeah, Australia. I mean, she's won it 3 times. Well, yeah, I mean, didn't win it here. Yeah, yeah. I guess these 3 more or less. Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Play.
Regarding the women's final, which of course will be tomorrow, we're going to see Aryna Sabalenka in her 3rd consecutive Madrid final, but we're not going to see her face the familiar foe, the person that she's played in the previous 2. It's going to be Coco Gauff, because Coco Gauff yesterday beat Iga Swiatek 6-1, 6-1. What has been the reaction in Poland and elsewhere, and even in the mind of Damian Kuss to that?
I'm in Portugal, so I don't know what the reaction is like in Poland. I mean, it's not like it's a singular thing, right? It's more of a continuation of what's been happening to Iga over the past many months. So while this is like kind of the sharpest moment that we've seen so far, there's also the question of like what happens in Rome and Roland Garros, but because these are the events where she usually is going to be, well, the biggest favorite of possible favorites on the WTA circuit. So it's not quite, dramatic to that point yet, I think. But obviously everybody is wondering who to fire, really, whether it should be Daria or Wim. That's pretty much the main thing. And yeah, I mean, 6-1, 6-1, that's going to be tough to handle. It kind of feels like she undermined all the good work that she did during that week, in terms of winning all these tough matches, getting back to some encounters that she was out of. And yeah, I mean, presently, you gotta remember what, Rome, Roland Garros, they are coming. They are probably going to be a bit better, but it's just tough to see her as like an overwhelming favorite to win anything at this stage.
She wins Rome, and I think we're sort of much more confident about her chances.
Depending on the style, but yeah.
In Paris, but we'll see. Anyway, that was a bruising defeat for her. There's a stat about the last time she lost in such a manner, right? Is it like 5 years ago or something like that?
No, I mean,
there's a couple of stats about that loss that are sort of kind of fairly novel for her. Yeah,
Ostapenko recently was 3 games.
It might be the clay factor. Then it was 1-1 on clay.
Before that, it was a couple of years. But anyway, she also got bageled by Keys in this event, which was the first time in clay since 2019, first time overall since 2021.
Any area of Iga's game that Wim has improved, or between them? I think
every area. I mean, just honestly thinking. I mean, not panicking on the court, mental side of it. Everything else is irrelevant, to be honest. I mean, obviously she still doesn't serve too well. That's always going to be a thing, at least for now. But mostly just clarity of thought on the court. Yeah, not going into panic mode. Internalizing any of the ideas that Fisset seems to have for her.
I think there's a trust issue there going on, and we've seen it manifest itself from time to time. But she needs to probably pursue this a bit longer, in my opinion. But we'll see if she does have that patience.
Trust issue, but between who? Daria Wim or Iga Wim? Or I mean, we just don't know. But yeah.
Well, Vanch says he thinks he knows that their relationship between Iga and Wim will be done within 2 months, is what he tweeted yesterday.
I mean, that's not really Iga's decision, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, Coco Gauff was there to take advantage, and take advantage she did, storming into her first ever Madrid final. Coco as well has had a pretty rough year, I would say, certainly since that loss to Badosa in Australia. That seemed to knock her sideways, and she's not been in a final since, but now she is in Madrid. Of course, I guess she benefits, that gets a bit more pop in Madrid than it might do elsewhere. I remember Coco in 2023. I mean, all players have, good wins, bad losses, etc. But that loss that she had to Badosa in Madrid, I think it was 6-3, 6-love in 2023, and Badosa was just bullying that forehand, or not even bullying it, just giving it, and Gauff obliging. That at least seems like a long time ago, at least in terms of this particular tournament in Madrid. And yeah, I'm going to have a quick look at her path to the final elsewhere. I'm just wondering who else she's beaten en route, actually.
Yastremska, obviously, in the second round, love 6 opening set. She survives that, and she kind of picks herself up.
Yeah, right.
Bencic, Andreeva against Mira. There were these 2 set points where Mira completely collapses. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a back in form. With Coco, everything feels weird because after the first 9 matches, we would have said she probably finishes the year number 1 or whatever. And we still don't know if it's just like Brad Gilbert came in and did amazing work with her for 2 months. Matt Daly came in and it was pretty much the same. And then, there's a drop off that is kind of not really understandable. A lot of the issues with the forehand and the second serve just come back right away. I mean, she's done well, obviously, in the last few rounds to avoid that. And now she's in the final, which is amazing for her. It's 5-4 for her in the head-to-head. And what I like about this head-to-head as well is whatever sample you look at, it's basically tied. Last 2 matches, tied. Last 4 matches, tied. Last 6 matches, tied. Last 8 matches, tied. So, she has to have at least a puncher's chance for sure. And yeah, that win against Iga, yeah, she served great. I mean, definitely. But still, didn't really feel like a win where, she has to show something unbelievable. But it has to be a confidence builder.
On the other side of the net, as I say, will be Aryna Sabalenka, her 3rd final in a row. She's won 1 and lost 1. She's also won Madrid twice. I think she won it a few years before, right?
21 and 23. Lost in the final last year, as you said. 22, she lost to Anisimova in the opening round.
She also had 1 match point or 2 match points the last year?
3.
Oh, wow, 3. In what was arguably the WTA match of the year.
Not arguably.
Yeah, it was our match of the year.
Clearly, obviously, visibly, apparently the match of the year.
Yeah, I would say so too. Although I think that the expression arguably, funnily enough, is often used in the case of when it's likely to have been, even though it sounds a bit contradictory given the word is arguable. Yeah, so Sabalenka, anyway, she is in the final. She won her semi-final against Svitolina. Sorry, no, Kostyuk wasn't in the semi-final. Svitolina.
The other way around.
Kostyuk quarterfinal, Svitolina semifinal. Did you see the controversy or hear about the controversy she had in her quarterfinal with Kostyuk? So there was a few spots of rain, and she said that one of them went in her eye, and therefore she wasn't able to take her second serve. They went off court, and when they came back on court, she of course had that first serve back. Yeah, so that is.
It sounds too controversial, to be honest.
I mean, to me, it does. I think she should have played the second serve. It's just a few spots of rain. She obviously wants to win the point. She wants to win.
But if he went off the court, then that clearly means that the umpire also decided that.
Yeah, but there's not, the decision wasn't made from the umpire. She went to the umpire and said, "Look, this rain is getting too much."
Yeah, but if the umpire decided that it's
the umpire should have been stronger.
Then the umpire just says,
the umpire needs to be stronger. Yeah, absolutely. But it's controversial.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm just basing this on the description. I haven't seen it, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously not up to her to stop playing.
Absolutely.
So, if the umpire decided that the rain is indeed getting a bit too heavy, then she deserved the first serve back, I guess.
Yeah, but she should have been stronger, I think, the umpire there. But anyway, Aryna took advantage and ends up going through in straight sets. She's the favorite in the final, right?
I think so. I think anytime they're playing in like relatively quick conditions, I've been going with Aryna with, let's say mixed results, because there is that US Open final, for example. But yeah, sure. I do think she is kind of like a machine this year, really. If she won the Australian Open final, she would be having like a flawless season almost. And yeah, I just think in Madrid especially, she's almost unstoppable typically. She's definitely going to be like the player controlling things. We've seen Coco produce some amazing defensive performances against her, including that US Open final. Typically, I tend to favor Aryna a little bit, especially in conditions like that. But yeah, I'm not. Obviously, you can't be like uber certain about it. Also, Sabalenka has already played a few, let's say, defensively oriented players this week, and she's held up okay. So maybe that will help her a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to go against Sabalenka at Madrid, basically. Anisimova, it's like one of her worst matchups on tour. She lost to her. Swiatek, of course, it was a titanic effort last year to beat Aryna. So why not?
I mean, her year has been pretty mega in terms of just making finals left, right, and center. The final in Stuttgart, the final in Miami, final in Indian Wells. It was just that Middle East bit that she just seemed to be undermotivated for. She has been in others. Final in Australia, final in Brisbane. I guess the sort of negative spin on it is that she's lost more finals than she's won. She won Brisbane. She lost the final in Australia. She lost the final in Indian Wells, then won in Miami, but then also lost in Stuttgart to Yelena Ostapenko just a couple of weeks ago. But we both think she's winning this one, right?
Yeah, she's easily kept up her status of the best player in the world so far. And yeah, I mean, against Gauff here, I have to treat her as the favorite, especially on probably one of her favorite courts. I guess maybe even her favorite, really, on tour. I don't know. Is there an event that she's dominating quite like that? I guess Wuhan she was.
Australian Open?
Oh, yeah, Australia. I mean, she's won it 3 times. Well, yeah, I mean, didn't win it here, yeah. Yeah, I guess these 3 more or less, yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon. Oh, hello, Zach. I think you started talking at the same time as me. There,
Sorry about that, James. Take it away, man.
No, I'm so used to taking it away. Yeah, I just thought we'd say hello, and well, I thought we'd join a little bit earlier because the players are having a very loud introduction to the court, getting a guard of honor from the ball kids as they come out ready for the Madrid final. The the first major big event of the clay season on the women's side in terms of to give us an idea of who the runners and riders may end up being for the French Open. And we have two of the top 3 players in the world in the shape of world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, and of course Aryna Sabalenka is a 2-time champion here, and the world number 3 potential of maybe even getting to world number 2 if she wins this match, Coco Gauff. What do you make of the lineup we got here then, Zach?
You know, I think we're in for a good one today. The way that Gauff just absolutely decimated Iga in the semis, she's playing at a great level. I think Iga also didn't bring her best stuff, but certainly we are in for a good one today. And Sabalenka has just been in final after final this year. In the preview, they talked about had a bit of a rough run in one swing, but other than that, the rest of the year she's been by far the number 1 player in the world. The ranking points reflect it. Now I'm going to let my American bias show. I think that Coco's going to get it done today. I'm going to say she's going to get it done in 3. I will also say, letting my American bias show, look, if they don't do a flyover with a big old jet before a sporting event, I don't quite get as excited. And so I think that's something that we should export around the world. Just needless displays of military force before a sporting event. James, who you got? And forgive me, I'm gonna try and connect to my headphones here to improve the quality of my audio. So give me one moment.
No worries. whilst you're trying to get your headphones on, this is a tough one. I'm 50-50 because on the one hand, Sabalenka, as you say, has been incredibly good this year at getting to finals, of course, picking up the Miami title back in March. And this is a place where it's really hard for her to lose. I mean, it took Swiatek last year until the last set tiebreaker to be able to get over the line and finally win the Madrid title. But I don't think Sabalenka's been playing at all that well on this run. I've not seen a sparkling performance. I've seen quite gritty performances, which is brilliant from her. But when you get to the final, you hope to start to see those 8 out of 10, those 9 out of 10 performances. And I have been incredibly impressed by Coco Gauff. I mean, the match a couple of days ago against Iga Swiatek, 6-1, 6-1. Iga Swiatek on clay to beat her breadstick followed by another breadstick. I mean, hats off. I mean, given the form that we've seen coming into this tournament, the constant early exits that she's been going through since pretty much the Australian Open, to then find this form now, I'm hugely impressed. And do you know what? I'm not because you're here. I probably am going to go for Gauff to win, and I probably am going to go for Gauff to win, maybe in 2. Maybe 2 tight sets. I've got a feeling on straight sets this time around. So I may be sounding a little bit more confident than you. I'm probably going to be proved wrong, and we're probably going to have Aryna Sabalenka is going to cakewalk this. But we know from a head-to-head that actually Gauff has the winning head-to-head against Sabalenka and has beaten her in 2. Certainly in the most recent match that they played, which was I believe if we got the head-to-head up, it was the World Tour Finals in Riyadh, where it was the semi-finals.
Normally it was
the Tour Finals. I remember watching that match and being hugely impressed at Gauff's ability to get the win there. But of course, Sabalenka won in Wuhan. She never loses in Wuhan, so you can kind of count that as it is. But yeah, I'm gonna go Gauff. We're going against John and Damien. Like usual, I always go against what John ends up putting down as a choice of who's going to win, and usually I'm proven right, which is even better. But we'll go along there. So yeah, and as both players are warming up at the moment. I mean, an interesting thing, of course, is, as I was saying, there was a chance here for Coco Gauff to become world number 2, which would be pretty huge, actually. She could become world number 2. It's a position she did hold before, but it would just mean that it's really showing in a strong direction. Do you think that could play a factor in how Gauff could play or what she could be feeling in this match?
I mean, look, I think absolutely could be a factor. At the end of the day, though, it's not their first time playing. Y'all see it on the screen. There's been a bunch of 3-setters. There've been a couple easy ones, but more likely than not, we're going to see a close match. Gauff, I got to tell you, at 21 years old, she's won 248 matches at the WTA level. That's incredible. I mean, she is on track to potentially hit that elusive 1,000 number. She's got now. I think having number 2 in the world at stake if she wins is big. I think that it's just not the same type of pressure to, if she wins, she gets number 1. And so I think there's got, a little extra motivation, but I don't think that there's a ton of pressure to get there. James, do you think that's playing into her thinking at all here?
I don't know. It's just something that, such a milestone as getting to world number 2. I mean, maybe it's more something that we as a tennis fan and as those that are watching around the tennis are thinking about more, because we know what the implications could then be.
Right.
It won't affect Rome, but it will affect Roland Garros, where we could then have the potential where we all want to see, because we haven't had it yet, which is an Iga Swiatek versus Sabalenka Grand Slam final. It's the one thing that we haven't had. And it's the one thing we're desperate as a tennis, fandom, really, to want to see. But if Swiatek becomes the world number 3, that means that there's a 50% chance that match between Swiatek and Sabalenka at a Grand Slam will take place in the semi-finals, not the final. And Gauff could potentially have a pretty easy route to a final. And we know with Roland Garros, the tournament she's got to the final of before, we could see a strong possibility, if she can repeat this result for 4 weeks' time, of actually getting to that stage of the tournament.
And not to cut you off, James, but on my feed, we are now underway, and it begins with a big forehand winner from Sabalenka. And the first point of the match, Gauff is serving. Kit Dr. Zach says, actually pretty decent kits. I feel like I always get really, really boring, kind of ugly ones. But these, I like the color pattern. I like the texture in Gauff's gear. I think that they could have done something a little jazzier with the shoes. But it is now...
Are you able just to pause it for like 10 seconds? Because I've just had the first point being completed.
It would be a pleasure. Let me know when it's second serve for Gauff at love 30, which is what it is.
Oh, right.
On that
you really
fast
are quite far in front.
American Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you are speeding ahead of us of me on my Trojan horse of a Wi-Fi here.
Do we want to blame Brexit for the Wi-Fi situation over there, or what?
We could do. I mean, half the problems in this country seem to be blamed on a decision made 10 years ago. Okay,
and so tell us what you're seeing, James. What's happening on the screen in the match?
Okay, it is love 30. First serve though at the moment. Okay, it clips off the net. Okay, and then she's just collecting the ball from the ball kid, bouncing it on the line and ready to go. And then the ball's going to go up in the air on the second serve and then goes down. And then we've got a exchange taking place cross court on the forehand there. Comes to the net, goes across the court again, goes for a smash. Sabalenka just about reaches, gets to it, but it lands out. I think now we should hopefully now be on sync.
Yes, indeed. And Sabalenka didn't win that point, but actually showing some pretty darn good defense there, making Gauff work for it, hit an extra ball or two. And that's something that you just got to do if you want to win on clay. Hey, so how have these courts been playing in your mind? Is this a fast clay? Is this a slow clay? Or is this just what clay is supposed to look like, would you say?
I mean, I think everyone's probably heard from every single tennis commentator for the past couple of weeks. It is a fast play court. It's altitude play, which means that the ball goes through the air incredibly quickly. And it means that those players who have bigger serves. So we've seen in the men's side of the tournament with the likes of Jack Draper and whatnot getting to the final, but it's conditions, and Sabalenka also constantly getting to the final here. It's those big servers, big hitters that are able to really make hay. It's almost a bit of in the main clay court season, a bit of an oasis of a tournament for them to be able to get to, where they're not going to constantly be having to make constant balls and having to constantly construct deep technical points every single ball.
And we've got our first break point here, James, at 30-40. I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned this before. I think Gauff has room for improvement on her serve.
Yes.
And I think that was probably an original thought, yeah? Here we are with yet another second serve for Gauff.
Unfortunately, it's one of those things like Captain Obvious. It's like, definitely needs to get better.
Like, has anybody ever said that Yao Ming's pretty tall? Original thought. Oh, and Sabalenka doesn't do much with it. Yeah.
I'm going to make a statement forehand down the line here, and it didn't pay off. I'm going to try and take control of this match straight from the get-go. I mean, of course, we've got this match is also in the shadow of the match that took place last year in the final. One of the probably, I think it was certainly voted for on this channel, the match of the year, certainly on the women's side, and you would argue also probably on the men's and the women's side. And I remember doing talking tennis, commentating on that match, and just being in awe of how great the level was from both Sabalenka and Swiatek in that contest, and for Swiatek to get to win it like she did, it was brilliant. Yeah, it was a Damon at the time, and it was utterly brilliant.
As Gauff is serving here for the first game at in, Sabalenka coming in, net cord, and rips it. What a shot. What a recovery. She makes that look so easy. Anybody who's ever picked up a racket can tell you when the ball hits the net and goes up in the air, the panic sets in for any mere mortal. But Sabalenka is just wired a little bit different. What a point to take us back to deuce.
What also helped there was actually if that ball properly went over it, Gauff probably would have won the point, but actually the clip of the net really helped Sabalenka just to basically hit it like a short forehand. Oh, lovely back behind with a backhand there from Gauff to get back to advantage.
That's such an effective play. When you take somebody out wide like that and they have to aggressively recover, going behind them, even when they're going into the forehand of a player like Sabalenka, who's got, arguably the best forehand in the WTA, it's extremely effective. Really, really nice match tactic early on from Gauff.
And certainly it's one of those things in which you can take from, because Sabalenka is fantastic here, but isn't the most natural clay court mover. Much rather prefers to play with cement under her feet. And actually, you can. It's the one move that the altitude doesn't matter if there's altitude or not on a clay court. You can still go back behind and catch people out who are a little bit like Bambi on ice when it comes to movement.
Bambi on ice as Gauff holds for the first game to get us underway. We might be here for a while, which could be a challenge for me, James, because I actually am in a tournament myself this weekend. Got the round one win in men's doubles last night, and I've got a match scheduled to start in about 3.5 hours here, or 3 hours and 40. No, oh shoot, yeah. 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I think no matter how long this goes, there should be plenty of time for me to get on over to that.
You gotta make sure you warm up. You gotta make sure you warm up properly, Zach. The last thing we need for you to do is to pull is to have a groin injury or a hip injury because you didn't warm up properly.
Exactly. Gotta hydrate. All the stuff. All the stuff these players spend hours and hours and hours doing at the pro level.
Please tell me that because we're watching clay court tennis at the moment, you're going to be playing on clay, or is it hard court?
I will be technically playing on clay, but it's not this beautiful red clay that we're seeing in Madrid. It's the American Hartrue or whatever it is, green clay, which I find to be of an inferior quality. Yes, and Sabalenka starts to serve off big backhand. The Sabalenka
that point really well. Yeah, work that really. Okay, help with a little clip off the net, but the short ball from Gauff. Something that Sabalenka could run onto and then stick that backhand lovingly up the line, gets the first point on the book and gets her first point in the service game.
While I do think that both kits are pretty great, the fact that they're almost identically, like the color scheme is so similar, it makes me wonder how two different brands could have the basically exact same idea. And that tells me that whoever the staff is that are putting this together are using ChatGPT. And so, hey, maybe these are ChatGPT inspired kits. Maybe two creative directors just happened to come up with the exact same thing. I don't know. Little conspiracy hat, Zach.
Little conspiracy. I mean, at the moment, I'm just in horror of how bad the kit colors have been from both Nike and Adidas. I know Coco is with New Balance, but how bad they've been this clay court season. I mean, to the extent at the moment where both Holger Rune and Jack Draper have decided to stick with the Indian Wells and Miami kits, then actually move to the clay court kits. And I've seen a picture from some of the shirts that the men could potentially wear at Roland Garros, and you're just like, come on, somebody make an effort. Make an effort with these ones.
What's the deal? Like, there are people who are paid tons and tons of money to figure this out, and like that's the best they got. Just
I mean, because I was watching, because I don't know if you've seen that the Roland Garros have recently been putting out every single Rafa final on their YouTube. And
that's a pro tip, subscribers.
Yeah, And I looked at Rafa's kit from 2005 when he first won it, and I'm looking at it going, that looks brilliant now. Why can't they do some sort of like retro rewind, 20-year anniversary kit, and have players be able to play in shirts like that? That would be so awesome.
The retro rewind kit idea is fantastic as Gauff gets us underway in the third game on serve.
Oh, good backhand forehand by Sabalenka there.
Put a little heat on that.
Winner. I mean, there's no better feeling in tennis, and I know I'm saying that as an amateur tennis player than hitting a return winner.
Yeah,
because you just feel like you are the one in control, and your opponent is hopeless. Because that is one of the most. That's when your weakest situation as a server is the moment after just about completing the motion, because you're dead sit, you're standing still, and you're having to get yourself into a movement position.
It's true in both directions. It's one of the best feel. Another
forehand winner.
It's hard not to feel hopeless when you're serving, especially if it's a serve that you feel fine about on second, and you just watch it go blazing by you. As Gauff has just done 2 points in a row. Love 30. Sabalenka has to be thinking, can she press this advantage here and get herself a break point? Let's see. Another second serve.
Yeah, she's got a half chance at the moment. I mean, sticking Coco Gauff into bat, first of all, was probably a wise move.
Yeah.
Really put the pressure on. And it's a double fault.
Oh, golly.
Aye. A trademark Gauff double fault.
It's not too early to panic if you, let's just say, predicted a Gauff victory, but Sabalenka's looking really, really good so far.
Yeah, did I say Gauff? I think you must have misheard me. I think I said Sabalenka.
They sound very similar. Absolutely could have happened.
Very similar. Aryna, Coco, basically the same word.
And
there
Sabalenka,
we go. And what a break there for the Belarusian.
Yeah. Folks in the chat, thanks so much for joining as always. A little flex here. Not sure if y'all saw, but 15,000 subscribers for Talking Tennis. That's pretty good, pretty cool. And it wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you so much for liking and subscribing. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and do it. You're here. You're listening. Hopefully you're having a good time. We'd love for you to keep having a good time with us.
We now have the same number of subscribers as you can fit into the Rod Laver Arena, the Philippe Chatrier, or the Centre Court of Wimbledon.
Wow. That's a fun fact.
That's a fun fact. I think we now need to be looking to get to the next target, which is the Court 1 at Indian Wells, which is 17,000.
Yep. Ibrahim in the chat says...
Also, I believe the new Centre Court at the Paris Masters is 16,000. Wow. So that would be another good one. And then, of course, the big one, which would be 23,000, the same size as the Arthur Ashe Stadium.
I think pretty soon we're going to get to O2 arena size based on the trajectory. But Ibrahim in the chat has a question for us. And I think as guys that predicted a Gauff win might not love it, which is, do we think that Coco will win one set? Based on what we've seen through 3 games, unless the dynamic changes, probably not. But that's the beauty of tennis. The dynamic is always shifting. Players make adjustments. I do think we are going to see Gauff win a set here. I am going to stick with my belief that she's going to win the match, although my confidence has been shaken by just the raw power of Sabalenka so far today. James, what do we think?
We had to remember rewind back to the US Open final in 23. She lost the first set 6-2 and looked pretty hopeless, Coco Gauff, but then came back to win sets 2 and 3 to win her first ever Grand Slam. So it's not overly too over. It's a bit disappointing. We just had a shot there of the stands, and it seems as though they've moved all the fans down from the top tier to the middle tier because there's not that many of them.
It's criminal lack of promotion on the part of the WTA, and everybody involved in getting butts in seats should be ashamed of themselves. They're doing the players a disservice. These are 2 of the best athletes on the planet. It is an extremely exciting matchup. It's already been great tennis, and the people whose job it is to get fans there didn't do it well. Shame on them.
No. I always stand. I much prefer with these joint Masters events that both the men's and the women's final take place on the same day, like how Indian Wells do it. I much prefer have a schedule where you get to watch both the men's and the women's final. I mean, one of my favourite, because being in the UK, I go to the Eastbourne final quite often, and they do the men's and the women's final on the same day, and it's just a brilliant ticket to have a really good amount of tennis and really good high quality tennis on both sides.
Absolutely. By the way, Sabalenka at 40 love here. Gauff is feeling pressure in every service game. Sabalenka is continuing to cruise. At the, I believe, first point of this game, Sabalenka hit what I consider to be one of the most challenging shots in tennis, the overhead going backwards, and she made it look easy. I really think that not only is she, coming out incredibly powerful and strong as she always does, you can tell that she's feeling the touch. She did miss one drop shot early in the first game, but she's in rhythm, looking really strong. Now up 3-1. Gauff serving here at 1-3. Let's see if she can get a hold to get her confidence back, get back on track here. And in the chat, B Block 6, Coco says Coco is going to lose, I fear. I also fear that, B Block 6. But again, a whole lot of tennis to be played. Stick around and let's
remember, we're only 4 games in.
And in tennis, 4 games can be a blink of an eye or an eternity. No way. That, oh man, another forehand winner. She's just teeing off on that serve.
Gauff needs to make more first serves. That's the first thing.
Yeah. I mean, fundamentally cannot win without getting a really high first serve percentage. But also, I think that Gauff's kick on this surface, it just sits right up in Sabalenka's strike zone. And when it's not
kicky enough.
Right. It just kind of sits there, and Sabalenka is going to continue to tee off. Wow, and another great touch
wow.
rally.
What a read on that one. Right at the net, went straight back to a racket, perfectly placed from Sabalenka to hit down for it to bounce basically straight off and straight for a winner. Love 30.
I mean, that's the kind of shot that when Sabalenka's making it, I don't know that she's beatable. And so, if her level remains here, I don't think that Gauff's going to win a set. Sabalenka, we're seeing A+ tennis from her, on the return, on the serve, at the net, from the baseline, even on the defensive side of things. She's firing on all cylinders, and it's really fun to watch. Let's see if Coco can find a way to match her.
You can always tell that she's still annoyed that she lost that match last week or a couple of weeks ago to Penko and didn't win a Porsche. She's like, I need to win the tournament here.
Yeah. Sabalenka has another 3 break points. It has been at least 7 points since Gauff serve since she's won one. So Sabalenka's won the last 7.
15, last 15. Whoa, that's a stat. Last 15 points, all won by Sabalenka.
I knew she was in rhythm, but come on, 15 points in a row. You don't see that very often at the professional level, and you almost never see it in a final.
This is close to golden set territory.
Yes.
I mean, it's a feat in tennis we don't think we'd ever see.
Sometimes players just had that day where the ball looks as big as a basketball, and Sabalenka so far seems to be having one, and Gauff does not, with another double fault.
At the moment,
16
Gauff
straight points.
Yeah, at the moment, Gauff is having a day as though she's not holding a basketball. She's not holding a tennis racket. She's holding a baseball racket with some of the shots she's trying to hit.
Hey, while we were at the changeover here, Sabalenka going to be serving at 4-1. I saw a question posed in R10s on Reddit the other day, one of my favorite tennis group chats, and it was, how many beers do you think Rafael Nadal would have to have for you to beat him in tennis? And the consensus seemed to be, I'll hold off on what that number was. How many beers, James, do you think Aryna Sabalenka would have had to have for you to beat her in a set of tennis?
Probably enough for her to have alcohol poisoning.
So like 15, 16, we think? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically she would need to have both alcohol poisoning and also be so watered up that it would be there'd be problems. She'd be sick all the time on the court.
Whatever the number is, it's like they can't stand because there's a lot of muscle memory there. Like, I have no doubt Rafael Nadal could have 12 beers in a 2 to 3 hour period and beat me in tennis, and I'm pretty sure the same is true for Sabalenka. I think you're in alcohol poisoning territory. Now on Reddit, there are a bunch of delusionally confident internet commentators saying, "Oh, 8-9 beers could absolutely win." Get real with yourselves. Yeah. The muscle memory is strong with these pros. All right, let's see. I think I remember watching.
I watched a similar clip. It was a little clip on YouTube. It was about golf and about female golfers, and you have all these like amateur men who think they could beat a female golfer around, and they would just get their asses handed to them really by like Nelly Cordier and whatnot.
You know, there's an American basketball player named Brian Scalabrine who talked about this, and he was a bench warmer in the NBA, and he'd always say, you have to remember, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me about high-level amateur players, and the same very much applies. You know, the World 800 is much closer to Iga than we are to the World 800, right? And Sabalenka serving at 15 love. Let's see if Gauff can get a point this game. This is the 5th game without her being on the board so far. Kick out wide from Sabalenka. Cross-court forehand. Gauff at the line.
Down the line. Gets it from Sabalenka. Backhand by Gauff. Backhand by Sabalenka. Down the line by Gauff. Cross-court by Sabalenka. Gauff though goes for the slice. And the slice drop shot works wonders. The third point is on the board. The fans are clapping because they knew how awkward that was starting to get.
Very saucy drop shot attempt, and good for her for having the courage to go for something like that when she hasn't really been bringing it, hasn't really been feeling it. Way to change the momentum and shift the court that Sabalenka has to cover. I think that was a really, really aggressive and smart play. Great return from Gauff on this point to get it started.
That's a great return. Goes to the hello. Yep.
Bit of a funky bounce there. It looked like a bit of a clay court bounce for Sabalenka.
Yeah, it's just a bad bounce.
To me, that's one of the things I actually greatly enjoy about watching clay court tennis. There's just a couple extra layers of variability that you don't see on hard courts. And so, you know, I think that unpredictability is good for the game. It's also fun. Everybody's got to deal with it. Everybody's got to adjust, and you never know what's going to happen on clay. Now, let's see if Gauff... Oh, so she misses in the net, but it's 30 all. Obviously, she's got to be thinking, can I steal a couple points, steal this game, get back in it? Let's see what she does here at 30 all, and let's see what Sabalenka does on this first serve.
I mean, the main thing here is just get a good return, deep, preferably to the feet of Sabalenka.
Oh, okay.
What did I say? I literally said that's what you need to do. Good return, deep to the feet of Sabalenka, and you'll get something.
Clairvoyant James strikes again. There we go. All right. The momentum just shifts so fast in tennis as Gauff has a break point here. Let's see if she can capitalize at 30-40 with Sabalenka serving. Here we go.
Okay. Goes for score. Backhand.
You gotta put that in play.
That's a
gotta put that in play.
That was a snatch. That was just
simply not going to get it done if that return. I mean, that was a powerful serve, but it wasn't overpowering. Gauff has got to make those.
Yeah,
here we go.
Enough to get shape on your shot, especially when your backhand is one of your strongest shots in your game.
Yeah,
but gets herself a second attempt. Bit of a mistake there from Sabs.
Oh, okay. Another break point for Gauff.
By the way, I can see we've got like over 400 people watching, which is fantastic. Do comment in the chat your thoughts, feelings, anything like that. Give us some questions.
Get weird. Ask us a dumb question. Ask us a fun question. Yeah. We'll get wacky. Ask us a tennis question. We're just two guys, but we'll do our best. You know, let us know what you think. More of a comment, whatever. Second serve here from Sabalenka to Gauff's backhand. And Sabalenka.
Oh, and another mistake. Another mistake from Sabalenka, and one of the two break points has been won back.
So she has come back to earth after entering extraterrestrial territory with a 4-game stretch that I don't think we will see very often. 16 straight points against the world number 4 and potentially soon to be world number 2. What a run. But now it's done, and Gauff is serving at 2-4. Gauff getting us underway. Ooh.
Goes for the slice drop shot. Beautiful drop shot.
Very saucy.
I think Coco Gauff's woken up.
Do we think the crowd is giving her strength? You know, obviously, as we are commentating, we cannot hear what the atmosphere is like. So in the chat, tell us: is it loud? Is it rowdy? Are they getting after it in there?
I mean, we knew from like matches last night and whatnot how the crowd really do get behind the player who's behind. To try, just because they paid a lot of money for a tennis ticket. And I looked, the prices for Malmo Santana, I've had a look, are very expensive. Even for a ticket in the gods. So, you really want to get, your money's worth, and you want to see a great match between two great players.
What's the cheapest ticket there that you saw today? What's that going for?
Oh, I mean, today the cheapest ticket's going to cost you just slightly north of 200 euros.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
But worth it if you got it, because I think we're in for a good one. Gauff with another double. James, again, I don't think anybody's made this observation before, but personally, I think it'd be better if she stopped doing that as much. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah. It's a groundbreaking thought. It's something nobody's ever thought of, but I agree. No double faults are good.
That's the kind of insight that you can count on me for at least once a match. Gauff, though,
levels of insight.
Yeah. Gauff with a big forehand there. Going behind Sabalenka again. I mean, I think Sabalenka is so powerful and so explosive. I do think that her change of direction is not as strong as some of the other top players. And I think that's a strategy worth continuing for Gauff there, going back to the well from time to time.
Yeah. If you're very good at moving people around, keep moving people around.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Ooh, did that hit? It did. It was a big backhand from Sabalenka.
Sabalenka's in control of this point here, but a mistake. And this is what we've seen match after match this week from Sabalenka. Just she gets herself out in front, then the errors and the mistakes and the bad tennis just catch up to her midway through sets.
Gauff serving at 40-30. What a change of fortunes. And I mean, good for Gauff for getting back into it. It was looking unfun there for a moment.
Oh, balls. Oh, no. I thought it was a ball back, but there was a pollen particle.
I also thought that was a ball, and I thought, oh boy, some ball kid's about to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Gauff with the hole. Okay, hey, we got a match on our hands.
We do. There's not out the realms to say, one of the next two Sabalenka service games, just put some pressure on. You may be able to get back on serve.
While we're on the changeover, James, give us some culture. What are you listening to these days outside of tennis? Any musical acts that you're enjoying in particular?
Musical acts? Crikey,
yeah.
That's a question. I don't listen that much to music. I do listen to music, but a lot of songs are quite older. I'd say the one thing I found, mainly last year, was actually rediscovering almost the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah.
And some of their old collection. But then something I found when I was in France at the back end of last year was Offenbach. Offenbach. They do some sort of Europe techno type stuff, which somehow I ended up listening to and kind of enjoying, which is usually a bit unusual for my sort of palette. So yeah, they seem to be the songs that have popped up on my thing most recently. What about yourself?
So I've just stumbled on a band that is new to me, but not a new band, called Get Down Services. And they describe themselves as power disco, which is not a genre that I particularly would have expected to like if I'd heard that description before hearing their music, but it is delightful. And I also just want to plug Big Special, both, I think, British bands, because, there's some good stuff coming out of the UK. There's also a band coming out of Ireland, or a trio that are a bit naughty, bit controversial, but talented youngsters called Kneecap, if you're familiar.
Yeah.
They're in trouble all the time, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, they sang on a song Killing MP, which has caused a little bit of a
that is protected by the First Amendment in the States, but you are really not supposed to say that. Naughty lads, but talented youngsters nonetheless, as Sabalenka is serving at 15 love, trying to stop the momentum from Gauff. Missed that first serve here at 15 love by quite a bit.
You just win the first point. If you could settle down into the service game and you hit a first serve like that, and it just puts you on edge again.
Okay.
Good backhand, kind of short, but not too bad. Rally taken here, goes for the drop shot. Oh, just about to get. It doesn't have it. Okay. Into the net though from Sabalenka, 15-all.
You know what Gauff is doing here?
Gauff is just making ball there and actually getting shape and working the points.
She is not giving Sabalenka two balls in a row that are the same. She's throwing a little bit of junk in there, a little bit of slice. She's changing the level of the court where Sabalenka is going to be able to get to it. And I think she's just making it as unpleasant as she can for Sabalenka out there and trying to take away her rhythm and succeeding. I mean, great adjustment by Gauff here. And it makes sense, right? Nobody can hang in the pocket and just bang with Sabalenka. She hits too hard, right? You have to get a little creative.
There's only one player on tour who can hit pound for pound with Sabalenka, and that's Rybakina. That's the only player who can.
Yes, indeed. Ooh, it's going to be a fun Wimbledon this year, speaking of Rybakina. I hope she gets it together, whatever's going on there.
Yeah, it was there's just parts of a game that aren't really working at the moment for her.
Yeah. Whoa, how about that inside out from Sabalenka at this point?
Yeah, and she's in control, but Coco's just about staying in there. Yep. Oh, but a brilliant drop shot from Sabalenka there to get to 30-15. Just saying that you're not going to get a double break on me. I'm going to hold it.
Hey, did I miss something, or has Sabalenka's net game, like, she looks fantastic when she's coming in? Has she gone to another level at the net in your mind?
She certainly has. She's improved her touch and feel at the net has just improved astronomically. I think she knows that, the vast majority of WTA Tour do hit ball, see ball from baseline, but she knows that she needs to, touch like that just to get, it didn't work out, but it was showing that variety, that having that touch, having that different edge just really helps you, to be able to stand out from the crowd and to be able to go to a plan B or a plan C.
Oh,
okay, granted, the problem with that one was there was just too much air, so it just gave Coco Gauff so much time to be able to set up for that shot.
I think one of the things I feel compelled to say every time we're on is Gauff made that shot look so easy, and anyone who's ever picked up a racket knows it is a perilous shot. That approach shot put away, and it's textbook.
It's that mid-court forehand, because you're having to change this, because the spin rate because you want to hit with the same sort of power as you would do from the baseline, but halfway up the court. But if you do that with the same levels of spin that you put on the ball, it will go long. So you have to try and add more spin whilst also keeping the same power, and that is a really difficult thing to be able to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, God, that was Damien and Vance levels of analysis there. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Oh, extended rally here. And Gauff.
Yeah. Oh, the one good thing Sabalenka was doing there was that just every single point, Coco Gauff was just going back and back and back a bit. And it just meant that just didn't get enough. That mistake was bound to happen.
The chat, a little quiet today, gang.
Yeah.
What are you feeling? What are you seeing out there? Let us know. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you're feeling. Tell us how your day's going. As Sabalenka serves at in. And a nice net cord.
That net cord on the bit there.
All right.
So the one thing I will give this tournament credit for is how they're able to keep the flowers looking so fresh for the entirety of the 2 weeks.
That is really impressive. Whoever does the landscaping, kudos.
Kudos. Big kudos.
Oh, look at that, Mark. Look at that, just cleaning the line.
Yeah, the literal definition of cleaning the line, that ball.
And Sabalenka returning at 3-5. Gonna look to close it out here.
So she'll certainly be looking. She'd like to serve first in the second set. She will throw. She knows she'll go to the chair if she doesn't win this game anyway. So she'll throw the kitchen sink at Gauff here.
There's so much hook on that first serve miss from Gauff, but that's a targeting issue, right?
But you're just not. Your bullseye's not on yet.
Yeah.
Oh, just about gets it over. Sabalenka comes to the net. Brilliant dig. Goes for the lob. Goes for the smash. Happy as you like.
I'm loving this version of Sabalenka. Look, I think selfishly, I've got a pro Gauff bias, but Sabalenka's game is so fun right now. The variety that she's added in is incredibly impressive. Gauff can always throw so many looks at folks and is so scrappy and has such great defense out there. We're getting some great points as a result of their stylistic flexibility.
Oh, a mistake there. I was a little bit off balance there. Sabalenka. Gauff gets a cheap point.
Okay.
Stephen Grant at Gant is saying Sabs in 2 unless Coco can dig deep.
I think that Steven is correct, but also we've seen Coco dig deep many times before, and I think you can't count her out until that last point is played.
Absolutely. Cross-court exchanges.
Oh,
just venomous. That cross-court forehand from Sabalenka there. And so low. And to get the ball that low on a clay court, top 10 out of 10, gold star.
You can see a touch of frustration on Gauff's face because, look, Sabalenka is just making her work for everything. She's not giving her any free points. She's mashing the ball. It is a challenge. That's a not great miss in that first serve there.
That's
hoping. Yeah. Second serve from Gauff. Let's see what she does with it. Oh, a narrow miss on a very good return, and then a narrow miss from Gauff on what would have been a momentum shifter.
It's one of those classic situations. You're under pressure. You feel like you have to play closer and closer to the lines. And, what would have been, in a normal situation where you just need to play with a little bit of margin and you would have won the point, that goes out your mind. You feel you have to hit the lines. And you have to hit the back edge of it to win the point. And it's a pressure Sabalenka puts on. And at the moment, it's looking like she probably will. There's a second serve
points.
here.
Big return.
Forehand, just about gets it in. Goes for the drop shot. Coco gets to it. Goes up the line. One or two set points saved there. Maybe it was just a bit of a cop out there from Sabalenka going for that drop shot. Probably didn't need to do that. Could have worked the point a bit more. Push Coco back a little bit further before bringing that in.
I got to tell you though, that that backhand approach when you're at a full sprint like Gauff was there and you're taking the ball from below the net, it is such a tough ball. Really, really textbook finish from Gauff. Nicely done. As we face our second set point, and that
that was horrific. Oh my god, that's a horrific way to end.
Look, all misses are unfun. You really want to be missing north-south and not east-west. And Gauff, again, it's a targeting issue when you're and I think that the same is true. Same principle is true in basketball.
I just talked about how Sabalenka copped it out there when it came to going for the drop shot, maybe a little bit too early in the point, and then Coco got us the exact same thing in the next point. It's like, no, you don't need to cop out. Get a good ball back, work point.
So James, if you're in Coco Gauff's box right now, what are you telling her to do? What adjustments does she need to make to get it done in set 2 here?
Well, if I was in her box, I'd probably be too starstruck and too in awe of the fact I'm in Coco Gauff's box in a Madrid Open final to say anything. But if I was in her box, I think the main thing I would say at the moment is, look, you're going to have to work through your feet, make sure that you get your first serve percentages up, because at the moment 53% of what first serves in against Aryna Sabalenka, who is hitting 75% of first serves in. I mean, yikes, that's a horrifically great number. It's one of the first key things you're going to have to do is get your first serve percentages in. But just as you say, keep working the point. Sabalenka, the mistakes are going to come. They are going to come from her. You just have to keep working at it.
I think the uglier that Gauff can make this match, the better shot she's got. A lot of slice, a lot of deep loopy balls to Sabalenka's backhand. Sabalenka is just too dialed in to rally on the baseline with, and I think that Gauff is trying to do that with the drop shot here and there. I will say, I think that Sabalenka has made it tougher to do because her overheads have looked so good, and she's moving north south so well to get to them and cut them off. But I think that Gauff has another gear. I think that first serve goes up a little bit. That makes everything easier. And then from there, she's just got to throw some junk, and she's got to make Sabalenka work for every single point. And certainly she's putting the effort in right now. The placement is just off a little bit, and I think just a touch more variety will serve her. And look, God, that second serve, for me, I think it's probably worth going up when she gets to the second serve, maybe a few more doubles to put a bit more on it, because Sabalenka is just mashing when that kick is in the middle of the box. She's taking it as a forehand and crushing it. That's just not going to get it done. A 22.
Completely agree with you on that one. I mean, at the moment, it's looking on course for you to be able to make your doubles match with quite a lot of time to spare.
You know, since we've got a moment here, I will tell you, last night, my doubles partner and I, we played a fella who is like men's 50-plus national championship caliber, and he was a little cranky at the end of that match. Got him throwing his racket, and anytime the other player's not having fun, you empathize, right? Because we've all had a bad day on the courts or, played somebody that we found frustrating to play. But what can you do but twist the knife? And I love just being like, oh, really nice effort after winning a point when somebody's like throwing their racket, just to kind of tweak them a little bit,
No, no, I agree.
You can be
really
so annoying.
Really get into the head for the next time you play them.
No, that like it. And when somebody's frustrated, the nicer you are, the more annoying it is, and that just makes it worse. And I love and like they can't get mad at you for being nice, but they want you to shut up. And I just don't. I can't do it. What can It's too fun. All right, and we are underway in set 2.
Oh, good backhand cross court.
Yeah, that'll get it done. That's tough to defend against. Not really sure what you can do there. Hey, I do want to also compliment the Ball Kids kits. There's been a lot of chatter online that the kits for the Ball Kids are better than a lot of the players. And while I think that Sabalenka and Gauff have very solid kits, yeah, like they do it for me. I like the color pattern. They look clean. The design is simple but striking. They did a great job. The shorts are a little long on the fellas. I'm a shorts guy myself, but that's okay.
I think my understanding is that they Madrid's a weird one actually, because the kits that they're wearing on this court are not the same as what actually the Ball Kids wear on all the other courts. It's a Madrid-based designer which designs them each year, and they're also models. Like they're actually professional models. They're not kids from a local school.
Huh.
And
what's the budget for that?
I think they have a lot. I mean, they got into trouble last year, I think it was, or the year before, because certainly the ladies' kit, the top half was very revealing, and they had to change and they had to change it halfway through.
I did not, I did not recall that. What an unforced error! What an L!
I think I remember it being a bit of a thing. I think on tennis Twitter, like, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure this is probably not practical wearing what they were wearing.
Yeah. Sabalenka serving at 30-15. In the chat, let us know if you think that Coco is going to come back here. James, I'm sticking with my prediction.
Cool. My prediction's out the window anyway now, so but it's
stick with it. You never know.
I mean, at the moment, it's looking like Sabalenka's she's just locked in here. Too revealing. Is that a thing? It is indeed, Sean.
There is a subjectivity to what that means, though. It's so Sean, might be a different thing for you. Welcome to the chat, Sean Power, by the way. Thanks for joining us. I mean, just what do you do? What can you possibly do against that?
I mean, Sabalenka just looks like she's on a mission right now to get this match over with and get herself on that private jet to Rome ASAP.
It reminds me a bit of Kim Clijsters. I had the chance to see her at Wimbledon back in 2002 when I was a kid. And you could tell from the moment she stepped on the court, she didn't just want to win. She wanted to spend as little time out there as possible. She didn't want to leave anything to chance. She was dialed in every single second and was not going to give away a single point. We're seeing that out of Sabalenka right now. Well, 50.4% of Talking Tennis voters must be questioning that prediction as well right now, as Gauff gets underway, serving here down love 1 in the second. Oh, geez. And a second serve. Let's see what Sabalenka is going to do with this. You won't believe it, but she mashes a forehand return cross court that is ungettable from Gauff. Like the same thing she's doing. It's a little bit like Pinky in the brain. What are we going to do with this return, Pinky? The same thing we try to do every night. Crush a forehand cross court. And there it is.
They always say this. I think it's Occam's razor, which is the simplest solution, is quite often the best.
Yeah, just crush it cross court.
Yeah.
For all you rec players, there's something to be learned. Keep it simple. If you want to be creative, do a sip and paint, wine and art thing. Just hit it cross court on the courts. Gauff,
that's a good one. There. Years ago, I did not see Saba being the reliable player on tour and Iga being somewhat vulnerable. It's amazing how quick. It's amazing how times and whatnot can change and situations can change.
Yeah. No, I was right there with Sean. I just didn't see a world in which Sabalenka, playing the style she could be consistent on every surface and every tournament, basically. And, to her credit, she has just found that perfect blend of power and targeting and accuracy. Oh, tough one from Gauff there.
That's poor. I mean, it's one of the, I was listening to some people talking about, Iga of, say, 22, which is the year that we do associate with such dominance from her, and how much really it was almost like a perfect storm. Barty just retired literally at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
She was the only player that was anywhere near Iga. Sabalenka was having the problems she was having on serve, and was trying to get a game in order. A lot of the other players were okay, but they weren't spectacular on the WTA tour. And
yeah,
you had Iga Swiatek, who was who was this brilliant, who at least was consistent, who was really good. Pretty much majority of the time, and went on such a tear as she did, and winning all the tournaments that she did. And
yeah,
we always seem to be comparing that season to every single season we've seen from Swiatek, and actually maybe what we're seeing, this year, last year, is the norm that we're going to expect from Iga, which is she's going to do well on those surfaces that are slower, that are going to be more high bouncing, and that we're going to see other players dominate her on quicker surfaces.
I think that her game hasn't progressed quite at the pace that some of us thought it would continue to. And the level on the tour has just gone up. And that's not a knock on Iga. It's just we are living in a great time to be a tennis fan. There's just so much talent in both WTA and ATP. And I find that to be really, really exciting. Although as a fan of Iga, it does bum me out that she's she's having the run that she's having so far in 2025. As Gauff, taking it to Sabalenka a little bit here, serving for the game at 40-30. Let's see what she does. She misses the first serve, which, what can you do?
And it's actually been quite surprising about how much losing that world number one status that she had for so long has actually affected her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's seen by a lot of the interviews and whatnot. That really did great on her when she became the number two in the world, and actually has number two next to her name in the big tournaments, and not the number one that she had for so many years. And it's bizarre how those little things. I mean, certainly for a player like Swiatek, who can be very OCD at times, and will want things just right, and these sort of things happen. Can throw you.
As someone who's a big believer in therapy, they'll oftentimes say the thing is not the thing. In tennis, the tennis is not always the thing. It's what's going on in here. And you're right, that little loss of confidence that comes with no longer being world number one, or maybe it's a large loss of confidence. Iga's technique has not changed that much on the ground strokes. Her fitness level has not dropped. What's happening is a mental thing. And we see that in individual sports more so, I think, than team sports. And tennis, maybe with the exception of boxing, is the one where that comes up the most. Nice serve out wide there from Sabalenka. Extended rally here. Sabalenka with a cheeky drop shot and a bad miss on that volley. All those nice things I said about her net game, and now she goes and does that. That was a sitter, and I think you just gotta win the point when you get that ball. If Gauff gets a couple of those, anything could happen. I'm sure that Sabalenka wish she had that volley back. Yeah, look at this. Oh,
I mean, just didn't get the contact with it at all that she wanted.
Yeah, a little too casual, and maybe she wasn't. She was trying to not tag Gauff with something. But that's why you just gotta tag your opponent. Just light them up, let them know I will hit you with a tennis ball, and it's not even gonna hurt that much. It's just psychological.
And a rash backhand from Sabalenka gives Coco Gauff 3 breakpoint opportunities.
Let's see what she can do with this first break point chance. Sabalenka serving. We're now an extended rally. Gauff with a nasty
she's about to get
slice.
over. Set up. It was set up for the forehand winner. And she goes and puts it away. And we're now in a situation of Coco Gauff now being a break up in this match.
I was not expecting a break at love to happen after that first set. Good for Gauff. Way to play.
Those dramatic momentum shifts that can take place, and Gauff has now firmly has the momentum now in this match.
Big time. And Gauff opening some kind of container, eating a little snack. The thing that not enough players do at the rec level, bring a banana with you, bring a little power bar. Don't eat a meal. You don't need a steak and rice or anything out there, but a little nibble, it goes a long way in maintaining that performance. And how do I know that? Well, Coco Gauff's doing it, and you can trust her tennis judgment. James, as we are at a changeover here, why don't you tell us what that shirt is? I see a literal Red Bull on it. I see something that says tag. I see a Puma, perhaps, logo. There's a lot of logos on it. What? I don't know what it's for. What's going on? What are you representing with that shirt?
I'm not representing anything. I am not sponsored by an oil giant. We'll just say that.
It's so funny. I am sponsored by an oil giant. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
So it's a Red Bull top from the Formula One season, I think 22. From their 21 or the 22 season. It was on sale on the F1 website a few years ago, and I always wanted one because it looked. And although I cannot stand Red Bull as a team, they make great tops. And I was like, I wanted. So I wanted one. I bought them, and they are so comfy. I've worn them. Like people who are regular listeners or regular watchers of Talking Tennis will know I wear this a lot because around the house this is so comfy to wear.
What's the material as Gauff gets us underway up a break 2-1? It's got to be a blend. Nice blend.
Yeah, it's like nylon-y, I think. I have no idea really. I'm not much into fashion, but it's a very like slick but comfy material.
I will tell you, in set number 2 here, Sabalenka, who could not have been more dialed in on her return, has been spraying it quite a bit. I don't remember her missing more than 1, maybe 2 returns in set 1, and already several have missed, and not by a particularly close margin here.
Zach, I need to actually show you a top I bought last month that you'll like.
Is it an Oasis? Is it Oasis?
No, because you're a New Yorker, aren't you?
I was born in New York, but I live in North Carolina now. Let's see what you got.
It was I bought because I was in New York last month, and I got this.
Is that the Giants? Oh, it's a Giants. That is fantastic. I bet you got a good deal on that.
I did. It was half price.
Yeah. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. He's really good at throwing a football. Don't listen to him about anything else, though. Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
He's a character.
I didn't know who he was, but I just saw the top of it, and I love the
it's a great-looking jersey.
That's what I thought. I was like, stylish-wise, I really like it.
He, at one point in time, was being considered to be a vice presidential pick for one of the secondary candidates in the 2024 U.S. elections. And he was a big fan of ayahuasca trips. Just some fun facts about Aaron Rodgers. He dated Danica Patrick, if we're talking F1 as well, as Gauff is serving at 40-15. And you know what they say, James? It's not a break unless you hold. And it sure looks like Gauff is going to hold based on how this point is going.
Oh, hang on.
And she does.
Yeah, she does.
That's a beautiful forehand slice there from Gauff. All right.
I can see why that top's now. I just searched up who that person was, and yeah, he's going to leave them. So
so one, it's a great looking jersey, great deal.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I didn't know your level of familiarity with Aaron Rodgers, and I was like, oh, like James, like what are you telling me about what you're into here? That is funny. I'm trying to think of what the equivalent would be. Would that be like if I picked up a Mason Greenwood jersey and was like, oh, without any context? Not quite that bad.
Has he done something that bad?
Aaron Rodgers or Mason Greenwood?
Aaron Rodgers. Has he done something like,
it's not that bad. That Mason Greenwood would be worse than Aaron Rodgers. If we're ranking misdeeds. Ooh, did that hit for Sabalenka on the backhand up the line there? I think it did. Oh, it did. It did indeed. It did indeed. And Sabalenka seems to be seizing control back here. Up 30 love.
Oh, okay.
That's just a lethal one too. I mean that is what the pinnacle of serve plus one tennis looks like in the WTA. I mean, Sabalenka had so much margin and so much court to work with after that serve, and she just hits the ball so flipping hard. There's nothing that Gauff could have done on that point. And she holds at love. And Ghost of Garolitis has entered the chat. Ghosty, welcome. Let's get weird, buddy. What you got for us today?
I'm going to have to probably find a way to get his name off the back of that shirt now.
Man, I think you're good. I think you're overthinking it. He's kind of a wacky guy. It's a great looking jersey. The green and black, it looks good.
I've just seen something that apparently says some weird stuff about a school shooting.
Yeah. Oh, you should see what he says about vaccines. It's a long list of weird stuff out of that.
I can probably get away with the fact it's 8 and the 8 and the fact that because his shirt looks good, I'm gonna have to find a way to get his name off the back now.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Next time that you are in the States or you're picking up American sports apparel, you shoot me a text and I'll just say, here are the 3 worst things that person has said for you. Just in case.
Take a picture of the back of it and say, is this person problematic?
Yeah. They should, when they discount something, they should have to disclose that. Like, why is it discounted? Hey, it's just like not a cool color pattern.
Well, especially to some clearly English or British tourist who has no idea about American football or the players, just likes to look at the tops and just wants to buy one. Just say,
I know that we're talking tennis, but let's talk football for a second here. I know the NFL does a game or two in London every year. Are you considering attending? Is that something that you might do?
At some point, maybe. Like I'd always want to try and watch. I mean, I watched. The problem is that the only NFL. I mean, we do have a sports channel that does show NFL matches, but usually tennis is on, so I watch tennis. Shock horror. We were talking tennis. But the only ones I've tried to watch a bit of is, of course, the Super Bowl final. But it's on so late in the evening UK time that I can only really watch like the first 30 minutes or so before I need to go. It's on a Sunday, so I need to go to bed because I've got to go to work next morning.
The game also takes forever. That's the only game you watch. Like all the games are long. They're not that long because the halftime show is, it gets bigger and bigger every single year. Great forehand there from Gauff to take us to 15 all. Looking very solid. Both players now seem to have raised their level, and I think that we're in for a stretch of really, really fun tennis here. Yeah, I mean, that's just that up the line forehand. That'll get it done. Coco with the ace in response to Ghosty. What a serve. And she needed that, to beat Sabalenka, you got to steal an easy point or two on your serve. And that's not a groundbreaking insight, but it certainly does help. And just want to plug that talking tennis, commentator, contributor, and all around swell fella, Mario, is going to be on the ground in Rome for the first 9 days. I think that we're going to get some pretty fun updates from Mario, and can't wait to follow along with his trip.
He's going to be in, Mario's going to be in his element. Absolutely in his element. So please do give us a follow so you can catch up to date with Mario. He's going to go and talk to as many different Italian players as possible. We're going to have to worry about him in a restraining order against Tommy Paul. He's all going to be absolutely champion.
Is he going to be there for the conclave too?
Could be. I mean, could Mario become the next Pope? Tune in a few days' time to find out.
Could Talking Tennis be the first to break who the next Pope is? I don't know. Like, follow along. You might find that out too.
Yeah, so you can get, find out if it's that Filipino one is going to become the Pope, or is it going to be the person from Nigeria, or is it going to be an Italian?
Yeah.
All to find out. Talking Popes, yeah, absolutely talking Popes.
If he breaks who the Pope is first, we probably do have to rebrand as Talking Popes at that point. As Sabalenka, speaking of breaks, has a break point here. 30-40, Gauff serving at 3-2. This would be big. That Gauff has got to be feeling the pressure. Poking Popes. I think Talking Popes is better. Poking Popes. God. Another spray on the return from Sabalenka. And hey, some exciting news. Finishing holder BH6 has entered the chat and says, cheap viewers on streamboo.com remove the space at QBPQUYDX. Thank you so much, finishing holder, for joining the chat and for that valuable contribution. We always appreciate it. Oh, Gauff with the bad miss there. An unfortunate miss. And there's another break point for Sabalenka. James, prediction time. Oh, do we think she gets it?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. I'm going yes.
Until I'm going to say the screen already changed for us, and so I know she doesn't get it. But I would have gone yes as well. I would have gone yes.
Oh, you're ahead of me now.
I'm sorry. Hey, we got another deuce. We got another deuce coming up. This is a big game.
Too busy
Every game's a big
deciding what Mario's Pope's name's going to be. Is he going to be John? Is he going to go for Benedict? Is he going to go for Matthew?
Yeah. I did see there was a candidate with pizza in his name, and that to me feels like what J.K. Rowling would name a contender for Pope. I'm staying up on British culture just for you, James. Just for you.
That's like a really niche name. The fact she used quite stereotypical names for ethnic minorities in her book.
I mean,
Cho Chang for a Chinese.
Seamus Finnegan, who keeps blowing stuff up. Right. Like, come on, yeah. So, well, that was a great second serve there from Gauff.
Black
to get herself.
Dean. I mean, of course.
That's like if there was an American character, his name would have been like Nike McDonald's or something. Oh, what a return from Sabalenka. That's what she was doing the whole first set, and is still doing in spots in set two, but with a little bit more spraying. Really, really nice return there to take us back to deuce. And on this episode of Talking Popes, Ghost of Garolitis suggests that the Vatican consider Matthew McConaughey for Pope. Roman Catholicism is all right, and so on. I love that this is happening in the chat. I think Talking Popes is pretty fun. Big forehand there from Gauff to give herself a game point. The forehand's looking pretty darn good from Coco today, James. Has it been at this level the whole tournament, or do you feel like she's kind of bringing a little extra?
The forehand's been. I mean, the forehand certainly. A couple of days ago was incredibly strong, and it certainly seems to be boring out at the moment. Where it's just clicking a bit at the moment, and certainly clicking as Coco Gauff keeps the break. She knows how important it is to keep ahead here. As soon as you let Sabalenka back in, you'd fear that the match would then be lost from there because Sabalenka will then just storm it. but
Oh, yeah.
it is going well for Coco. But she would know, although a second break, an insurance break, is something that she will want to be able to achieve and get.
Dumb question here. Is there a greater than normal amount of space behind the baseline of these courts? Because I just don't think it's registered to me how much space they have exactly back there to work with. It looks like Roland Garros level depth, of course.
It is Philippe Chatier levels of depth,
Yeah.
isn't it? On the back and towards the backboard. I mean, I tend to agree with you. They actually do get a big run back, a huge run back. I mean, you got to remember this tournament was probably built, as best they could so that Rafa Nadal could win it. So they're going to give us bigger run back as possible.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. It's certainly it's up there. It's just as big as the Stuttgart run back as well. I mean, that's pretty huge. But what we have here is it's one of those multi special events arenas where concerts and whatnot will take place here and other sort of sporting events throughout the year. So it tends to have those. It's a bigger floor space than a traditional sort of tennis court.
Yeah. Sabalenka with a second serve at 30 love here. Nice return from Gauff. Sabalenka handles it and sprays another ball. Look, she's still playing pretty darn well. She's playing top 10 caliber tennis, but for the first set, she played unquestionable world number 1 caliber. Ghost of Garolitis, just to close the loop on this, says American Harry Potter character name for J.K. Rowling, Indiana Starbucks. He's got the fedora hat and a venti latte. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's about right.
And Sean comes in with actually quite an interesting question, which is that something you'd change? Less court space so you can retreat 10 meters behind the baseline. What's your thoughts on that? Are you okay with quite a long run back, or do you think this should be much tighter to the baseline?
I like this space because look, at the end of the day, if you're just going to bash the ball and hit flat and straight, yeah, it's a huge disadvantage to have somebody give somebody that much space. But I think it actually creates more variety. It leads to more drop shots. You have to work the angles a little bit more. I'd argue maybe it encourages folks to come into the net a little bit. I slightly prefer the courts that give that extra space. I think it's really, really fun, especially on clay. I also love watching where Medvedev returns when when he's got that extra space available.
I think also Ghost touches on a good point, which is given how powerful the game is becoming and how much all the players in the top of the game have such huge serves. If it was really if they couldn't stand that as far back as they are, their chances to be able to return some of these serves would be a lot less. And we'll go to an era where as pointing out there, a lot more serve bots, a lot shorter points. It won't necessarily feel as fun or entertaining if it's just constant aces and unreturnables by having people stand so close to the baseline. And it worked for a lot of players to be able to have that run back and to be able to return from that deep and allow them to really.
I caught some of the Opelka Mute match the other day, and it was just so funny. Because I think Mute would have benefited from having that extra space. Opelka, I'm sure, would have hated it. I find Opelka to be highly entertaining because I find his play style so unpleasant. Like I'm rooting so much for the other guy because I just cannot find myself getting excited about anything that Opelka does. Do you have those TV shows that you watch because they make you angry, not because you enjoy them? That to me is the Riley Opelka experience.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things you just watch and you go, is this actually tennis? I mean it's one of the things in which I like certain parts of Jakub Mensic's game, but the serve, the fact of how powerful and fast and basically serve bot territory levels of a serve. Granted, he has a lot more to his game than just that.
Yeah,
it does make me kind of go a bit. I don't really know if I could back you, and I don't really like watching your matches because I don't mind the odd ace every now and then, but if that's the majority of your game and it doesn't feel as though the opponent's getting any ability to be able to get into your service games, it's not fun.
Yeah, and the fan doesn't have really much ability to get into the games either because it's like, are you having fun out there doing that over? And over and over and over again. I will say I do kind of allow myself an exception for Wimbledon because that's just part of what you sign up for with grass, right? And it makes the break points even more exciting. I have a grass exemption for the serve bots in my mind.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, another thing is also something like Giovanni, especially Pericard, because you know, I think he's finding out, and Opelka is finding out, you know, in the clay swing that you know this is the one time of the year where serve bots, how powerful they are is diminished, and that they actually have to have some parts of their game to actually work properly. But yeah, I know what you mean about grass, but you know, some of the grass courts are slowing down a bit now because they know that they've got to try and at least get some rallies going, which is goodish. It's certainly goodish, and grass court tennis is still, in my opinion, the best form of the game. I know it sounds old fashioned and maybe
wow. James, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the defense that Sabalenka just played on that point was incredible, and I'm sure that Gauff wishes that she had that last one back. Gauff now serving at 15-30. If you're Sabalenka continuing to apply pressure on the Gauff service games, you've got to be thinking this is an opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, this is the problem, is that you want to at least try and extract a few easy service games just to give you a bit of breathing space. And pretty much ever since getting the break up, each service game's been a bit of a slog for Gauff.
Second serve. Sabalenka with a big return. Nice cross courts from both of them. Oh, and Sabalenka goes to the kill shot and just sails it. Just a touch. I mean,
just over.
The line was right. The power was right. Yeah. Just a little too much. In the chat, they're talking about the need to do more drop shots when somebody stands that far back. I totally agree. Not only the drop shots, the underhand serve against. I don't understand why players don't employ that against Medvedev, as we are at 30-all. Gauff serving. Big point at 3-4 in the second. At 4-3 in the second. Another miss from Sabalenka on the return.
And it feels like she's almost giving this service game to Gauff.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's the thing about Sabalenka's game. I think it's why earlier we were talking about why there was some skepticism that she'd ever be able to maintain the level consistently. She swings so hard, she hits so hard, and it just has to be so finely tuned that if she goes off by a little bit, she can go in these stretches where she essentially gives away games as Gauff holds serve to go up 5-3. James, Ghosty says that he's pro underarm serve. I certainly agree. Do we think that the Talking Tennis comic universe is generally pro underarm serve or what?
I think we're just pro, following the rules, and the rules state that as long as that ball bounces in the service box, that's all that matters.
Ooh, I like that framing. Absolutely. We're not pro or anti anything. We're just big rules guys.
The rules are you need to stand behind the baseline and you need to hit that ball. The first time it bounces needs to be in that service box. Then that's the rules. And how you do that is down to you.
And if you don't like the underarm serve, don't blame the opponent. Blame the governing bodies of tennis. Yeah. Sabalenka.
The thing is, how can you stipulate how someone hits the ball? And then how do you regulate that? Because then you can start saying you need to hit forehands this way, or you need to hit smashes this way, or backhands. A simple rule, which is the ball needs to go from here to here. You need to stand at least behind this line, and every single time you touch the ball, it has to be with your racket. Bro, everyone knows where they stand.
You know what, James? Matter if they take away the underarm serve, then tennis is no better than pickleball, and pickleball is a sham, and it's an activity and not a sport, and I will die on that hill. Sabalenka up 30 love. Here we go.
Yeah, so we've come to some form of conclusion.
We have resolved the underarm serve debate, and John weighs in that it's totally fine. The man has spoken. T pro underarm serve. As Sabalenka goes up 40 love, 3 points to close this out.
I do not like watching Zverev Munar matches before you start trying to create that rumor. I generally find Zverev matches boring because there's a degree where I like rallies, but I also like, variety in rallies. I just don't want big baseline who gets tight in big moments. I mean, that's not what I would sign up for.
Sabalenka with another spray of a forehand there. And again, you want to miss north-south, not east-west, and she misses wide.
Well, it seems like John and Damien are going to get a bumper day tomorrow in Estoril. It looks like it's pretty much rained off today for their semi-final matches.
Can I just say, John got a little sun there, looking very tan from his time in Portugal. Sabalenka holds 4-5. John asks, can Coco close this out, serve this out? She certainly can. I don't think that she is going to, though. I expect Sabalenka to get the break. She's been applying pressure on every single service game since I think the 3-1 game, the 2-1 game. At minimum, Gauff is going to have to work for this, but I think Sabalenka is going to get this break. James, what are you seeing out there?
I think the 50-50. I think either a break back could happen, but then also I think Coco could hold. I know it sounds like a cop out, but I'll go for that.
Sorry, is there a DJ? Look at this DJ that's doing DJ stuff in the middle of this tennis match. I think that's great. I think that we need to have a little bit more fun at the tournaments. We can obviously continue to make the exception for Wimbledon, which not having fun is such a huge part of the culture. But for the other ones, I like to see a little bit more, little jazz,
Well, before we start chucking around statements like that, willy-nilly.
Just a little shot there.
Wimbledon understands that the tennis is the fun.
I think the not fun is a unique part of the culture, not just of Wimbledon.
You don't
it's
need
crap,
to
mate. It's crap, mate. I'm sorry, Jay. I'm being silly.
Absolute shocker is that.
You're right. Wimbledon, especially the later rounds, everyone's in their their cream-colored blazers, strawberries and cream. That is fun. It's a bit stodgy, but you know what? We can make exceptions for one tournament like that. But the rest of them, get the DJ out, play some tunes, have a little, get wacky.
The whole purpose is the whole shtick of Wimbledon is it's tennis in an English country garden. That's the general vibe. It's actually quite funny if you're on centre. It's quite funny if you're on centre court as Coco got. It's a double fault there on the first point, which is not what you want. It's quite funny because you're sat, in the stands, certainly midway up the stands on that centre court or court one. The amount of times you hear champagne corks popping, it's obscene, actually, to be honest.
Oh no! Another bad miss from Gauff there. An unlucky miss in her defense. That was clearly a bad bounce, but that's clay for you. I will say the rowdiest group of people I've ever seen at Wimbledon. When I had the chance to go when I was a kid, there were 5 or 6 Australian fellas who brought an inflatable kangaroo. And everyone around them hated it, except for me. And I thought it was the funniest, most fun thing. They had a few pints of lager, I'll say.
Oh, my God. This is horrific. Horrific.
No. A second double and a bad, unlucky miss. And now it's love 40. 3 break points for Sabalenka to extend this set. Let's see what she does on the first one here. Second serve.
It's just she just can't hit the box. It's yay big by yay wide. Get it in there.
But when she does,
there
good
we
things
go.
can happen. Beautiful forehand there by Gauff.
Oh. Who's among us doesn't have an inflatable kangaroo in the closet?
So true. Truer words have never been spoken. At 15:40. Breakpoint number 2. Gauff catches the line on a wide serve.
Oh.
Something happens with Sabalenka's racket.
She just dropped the racket.
Okay, yeah. Hey, the pros are just like us sometimes. That is the first thing I've seen this match where I thought to myself, I could do that. I could drop a racket in the middle of the point by accident.
Oh, my God.
That's a big point to drop the racket on. What happened there? I'd like to see this replay, but I think he got caught on the court, perhaps. So she goes way out wide. And yeah, I think it got caught on the court.
She goes to run, like she's about to get her arms ready to go run, and the racket hits the ground, and it just ends up falling off her hand.
Okay, maybe a silly idea here. Come on, let's do.
Set up here, Coco. Go on.
Oh, wow. Okay, and we're at deuce.
Oh, I think what a save!
If you drop your racket, you should be allowed to use your hand to hit the ball. I think they should make that a rule change. But what a point! What a save! I bet you that Sabalenka wishes she had that one back.
That forehand that you had, Sabalenka hunting down the net to get it over and dip under the net with such small space. That's just fantastic.
Wow. Sabalenka, 2 points that I think she probably wishes she could get back there. The racket drop, that volley was a pretty weak attempt. Ghosty with the very funny comment that probably will not read out for just so we don't get in trouble. But that's a great way to handle a bad situation. Gauff now from love 40
4 points in a row.
Love 40 to set point. That's tennis. Let's see if she can close this set out and send us to 3.
Come on, go. Get us to the third set.
Takes a little extra time for the pressure point. And doesn't get it done. Back in the net.
It was like she was so surprised that she got a third serve in. She knew what to do on the return point.
It did look like it actually was a hair long to me, but it appears that it caught the line there. All right, Gauff serving at deuce. Woo! Lucky that didn't catch the line based on the return Sabalenka hit. Holy moly! So just a touch deep second serve.
I'll do kick serve up the tee here. If I were Coco.
Yeah, you got to stay away from the forehand. It's just too powerful for Sabalenka.
Can't go out wide because Sabalenka will just fire a rocket.
She tries to. Sabalenka is able to get to the forehand. Goes cross court with it and Gauff in the net on a really tough ball.
It's just overpowered all the way through there.
They're both slipping and sliding a little bit out there. I wonder, at this stage in the set, the court is a little choppy, both in and behind the baseline, and we're starting to see the effects of that from time to time here. Another break point for Sabalenka. And she sails it long on a very good serve by Coco. Good pace right into the body. Sabalenka unable to adjust. Another deuce. This is a pretty darn good game we got here, James.
This is turning into an excellent game. It's living up to the billing. As long as Coco can get this point here, well, he's get herself into a third set. Give what the fans want.
Here we go. Kick to the forehand.
To the curve. Just click steps on that. All right, guys.
Another let. 2 in a row. The suspense, man. The suspense is killing me. Get one of these in.
This is just serving to try and get the set, not necessarily the match.
Oh,
just goes over that one. Goes for the lob. Just bad idea, really.
Nice dropper. I love that John says that Miomir Kekmanovic is wearing his hoodie to be inconspicuous. I don't think that he's getting recognized that much. Even at a tennis tournament, I don't know that he's getting recognized that much. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm underestimating how famous Miomir Kekmanovic is. What do I know?
I suspect in the Players' Restaurant. I guess in the Players' Restaurant, people will know who Miomir Kekmanovic is.
Yeah. No.
Oh, and there we go.
Wow. Okay, we got a set here, James. 5-all. Sabalenka serving has seized the momentum. Gauff had a set point or two there. Oh, that's always tough psychologically to bounce back from. Gauff, I mean, if any player is adept and able to do it, Gauff is the one. But that hurts. That hurts. And 7 double faults this set too. Great return from Gauff to start this game.
Yeah, very good return. Gets the first point on the board. Oh, the fans restaurant. Okay, yeah. I suspect the fans of Estoril Open will know who Mir Kecmanovic is.
It's enough out of the way that if you're going to Estoril, yeah, you probably are a pretty real tennis fan.
Yeah, you would have looked up who the players you were going to watch were going to be on the court. It was a real shame for the match. The two big stars got knocked out quite early in FAA and Fonseca.
Yeah. I didn't catch the result of the Wawrinka match, the semi in.
All of a sudden, Sabalenka's turned into Coco Gauff here.
Neither of them wants to win. They're both having a good time. They want to keep it going. They want to make sure the fans get their money's worth. And here we are at Love 30. Sabalenka to serve. Takes a little extra time. Misses by several feet. The extra time did not seem to make a difference. And if it did, it didn't help. Second serve. Oh, and Gauff in the net.
Oh, that's a dire forehand from Gauff. It's a second serve. At least it's got to get in. You've got to get it on the island.
Yeah. You got to start the point.
Especially if you're 30 up, you can see Sabs is getting a little bit stressed.
Gauff looks unfazed by the break. Body language doctor Zach observes. Second serve again from Sabalenka here. Big point. Oh, did Gauff miss another? She did. That's too bad. 2 return misses at back-to-back points. 30-all now. Gauff really had an opening there and just didn't make the most of it. Still has time, still has points, but that's got to hurt. An extended rally here. Great depth from Sabalenka on that. That's such a tough ball.
Fantastic game here from Sabalenka.
Gauff expressing some displeasure there with some racket taps to the foot. Don't normally see that out of her, but understandably frustrated with that ball. Sabalenka serving at 40-30. Stephen Gant a little bit ahead of us in the feed. And so while we might know what's going to happen here, let's see this point. Sabalenka with her second serve.
Hold off, Stephen. Just like 10 to 15 seconds before posting your comments. Just to make sure you're not spoiling it for us.
Oh, and Gauff in the net. That was a tragic return game from Gauff. I mean,
I thought Sabalenka would have been thrilled by the fact that she's now gone 6-5 up, and at the moment, looking pretty certain at the moment she's going to win this set somehow. Looks at a box in absolute disbelief. And like going back to my original point, it very much feels at the moment as though you'd be surprised if Sabalenka now doesn't win this set and then this match in the process.
What's that beverage that Gauff has there?
What's that?
What's that beverage that Gauff has there? I see that she's got a can of something.
It's Aqua Mineralis, so mineral water.
Aqua Mineralis.
Yeah,
it sounds so much cooler when you say it. Aqua Mineralis.
Aqua Mineralis. I think that's the Latin way of saying it. Aqua Mineralis.
Aqua Mineralis.
Yeah.
If you're at home, just say it. It feels good. Aqua Mineralis.
So the reason why I like saying it is, it makes you sound intelligent. I feel like you sound intelligent when you use Latin words.
Amas, amat, amamos, amais, amat. Can still conjugate. What's up?
But what was I saying?
Talking
Yeah, the Madrid Open's in its as for this tournament's attempt to try and at least not use plastic bottles, single-use plastic bottles. They've gone to water in cans as how players get the water at this place.
Is that better if it's just a can instead of a bottle?
Yeah, because cans can be. Yeah, cans are much easier to recycle because it's it's tin or or some sort of aluminium.
Yeah, but they're still single use. I don't. You know what? They don't get a pat on the back from me. Have them use the same water bottle for the whole tournament if you want to actually do it. Come on.
Well, that's what. Well, a lot of them now have the water fountain, don't they? On their chair. Some of on the bigger events.
Oh my goodness!
What a backhand cross court! The power that Sabalenka placed onto that.
And again, she's just showing a pretty spectacular ability to defend. She's reading Gauff very well. She's moving well. She's staying in points that a previous version of Sabalenka might not have hung in. Love 15. Kick out wide. Nice return from Sabalenka. And Gauff sprays it.
I think we're potentially 2 points from the end of this match, Zach.
I guess it's time to start stretching, start warming up for me potentially for my match later on today.
Yeah, for you to get onto court. It just feels, certainly after Gauff wasn't able to get that serve. I mean, it's it just shows how quickly tennis can be. You go from potentially serving for the set and extending the match by another hour to 10 minutes later at the moment facing, the runners-up plate.
Oh, what a
Sabalenka
point.
just takes that back. Perfectly placed. Oh, good. I mean, that was a reach and a half from Gauff.
Wow, what a point. I mean, both of them, it seemed like they'd won it a couple of times, and Gauff gets it done. That's a big, big point from Gauff. That's a world number 2 caliber point from Gauff right there. That's a maybe still could come back.
Deep. She needs to dig this deep. Thanks,
Gauff serving. Great serve.
But great serve there. Sabalenka unable to get any real control on that. So what was storming towards a Sabalenka win at the moment is back to back to 30-all.
30-all. Gauff serving after a very nice first. Got an easy point there. Can she get another? She cannot.
No is the answer to that one.
Second serve from Gauff at 30-all.
Good backhand down line from Gauff.
Oh,
really?
No! The swinging volley.
I was literally just going to say, but we're seeing the best tennis from Gauff all match just when she needs to bring it, and then she does that.
What a reference from Ghost, and certainly it will be a joyous day when Talking Tennis hits that 20K number, just as I'm sure it was for Wilt Chamberlain. At 30-40, championship point for Sabalenka, and now a second serve. Oh.
Is this it? Is this it?
I'm holding my breath. Oh, that kick was close. Oh, and Sabalenka misses the return.
Oh,
for somebody that just had a championship point, she's pretty grumpy. Like Sab's like, stay in there. You're doing what you're supposed to do.
She knows that on a championship point, you've been given a second serve. You need to get that in.
She does not want to go to a tiebreaker here. It's Gauff serving a deuce.
Raining?
Oh, is there a little drizzle? Oh, what a forehand cross court from Gauff.
They just put a shot to the sky, which I was just thinking I saw a little couple of. Yeah, it is raining. It is starting to rain.
A little drizzle. Oh, this is the stuff of nightmares. The last thing you want when you're this close is a delay. Gauff misses the second serve here. As she's got a game point. And Sabalenka is upset.
She gets it. And Sabalenka is furious, utterly furious.
Wow.
Oh, championship point there and gone. And probably quite fittingly, certainly for this set. You get shots of rain clouds in the sky. They'll probably have to start closing the roof soon.
They're looking to the sky.
we go into a breaker and we saw that Sabalenka wasn't a fan of the rain in her eyes against Marta Kostniak earlier in the tournament. And that was in a tiebreaker, and she's in a tiebreaker here.
And just a reminder here, Mario for 9 days in Rome will be looking to the sky, both for the weather, but also to break the news of who the next Pope will be. You have got to tune in to Talking Tennis / Talking Popes in Rome.
Is it going to be white smoke or is it going to be black? That's always the big question.
Sabalenka getting us started in the tiebreaker.
Coco
And Gauff
looking
is looking
strong here.
confident, moving well.
She's just trying to get some shape on the ball. Oh, Sabalenka's taking control of the rally.
Great
Gauff
defense
is
from
just
Gauff.
defending and getting it back. Goes for the drop shot. Coco gets to it, goes down the line. Backhand from Sabalenka. Perfect backhand from Sabalenka. Goes on the inside of Gauff.
What does it feel like to hit a backhand like that even once? I will never know. Realistically, if you're watching, you probably won't either. But hey, keep playing tennis and maybe you will. Maybe you get one of those one time in your life. Just absolutely crank that. That is a heck of a shot
Work
from the world number
I
one.
mean, Coco will feel annoyed there. That was a prime opportunity to get a mini break.
Yeah. You know, it's in situations like this. Those that go deep.
And that landed long, I think it was.
Sabalenka appears to have picked up the first mini break. Gauff serving at 0-2, and this is where the serve.
The score bug hasn't changed. Oh, now it has. Yeah, that was long. So first mini break to the world number one.
Nice slice.
Coco really needs to not let her get too far in front. Needs to get the next point. You feel.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, what a backhand cross court! Sabalenka has hit the afterburners in this tiebreak.
Wow. She is at the top of her powers, like Oasis at Nebworth.
That backhand was so sharp in terms of, or so acute in terms of that angle, that when the time the ball bounced, it still hadn't reached the length of the baseline. It was that tight. Oh my God, what a forehand from Coco Gauff.
But that backhand angle, that's the shot that Sabalenka didn't have a few years ago. And that's how she's gone to the next level. That's why she is the clear world number one, is she has added that kind of touch and placement to her power game. And it's mighty tough to hang with. Sabalenka serving at 3-1.
Both players are in fifth gear, it feels like, at the moment.
Absolutely. Nice F1 reference. As Sabalenka sprays it.
And both mini breaks have gone. As soon as they come, as soon as they go.
It's not a mini break until you mini hold, I guess.
Mini consolidate.
Many people are saying.
Yeah.
Gauff serving at 2-3. Nice first. Nice return from Sabalenka.
Sabalenka goes cross court again. Cross court from Gauff. Goes to the drop shot. Poor drop shot from Sabalenka. And that's 3 points on the bounce for Coco Gauff.
Dare I say, that was a bit of a lazy drop shot attempt from Sabalenka. I get why she went for it from that position, but she shouldn't have been in that position in the first place.
It's almost those cop-out points. I think the grain's going, by the way. I think the clouds looked like it was just a small little cloud, but it's it was a bit of a cop-out one shot again, just getting a bit tight, just end the point early. They always say, in these key situations, in stuff like a tiebreaker or in those tight points, is your ability to continue to play your normal game in those really tight, pressurized situations, which defines, great from good.
This 3-all point, that's a big point in tennis.
This is it's open. Oh, why didn't you go up the line,
Coco?
It was more open than a golf course for Gauff just to hit a forehand up the line there, and she tries to go cross court, tries to overcomplicate it, and then ends up doesn't even get it over the net.
It was more open than a bodega in New York City where James has just come back from. Sabalenka serving at 4-3 with the mini break. What a serve. What a serve on a huge point. Stephen Gant.
Thanks, Stephen. It's great that you've enjoyed yourself. We try our best.
Stephen with the scoop and the good Wi-Fi. Let us know what your provider is, because if you're in the States, worth switching to. Wow, another serve from Sabalenka. 2 wide first serves, just untouchable. And Gauff made her best effort, but what can you do?
And now we're at 3 match or championship points. She's already had 1 on the Coco Gauff serve just in the previous service game. She now has 2 on Gauff serve and then 1 on her own.
Gauff with a second serve now.
For a chance to win the Madrid Open for the 3rd time. An unprecedented 3rd time in the women's game. And with a double fault, it happens. It's a shame it ends like that. We never like to see a match, and certainly a championship, end on a double fault. But Aryna Sabalenka has taken the Mudala Madrid Open in quite strong fashion, we could probably say, quite convincing fashion in this final, seeing off the world number 3, Coco Gauff, 6-3, 7-6, with that being 7-3 in the breaker. What do you think of that, then? What do you think of that?
I think that Aryna Sabalenka continues to show tournament after tournament why she's the world number 1, and reaching a level of consistency and result that you really don't see often outside of the greats. And Sabalenka is going to put herself in that conversation with another couple seasons like this. I mean, her level right now is so fun to watch as a tennis fan. There's a 6-3, 7-6, but at the same time, it never really felt in question. As much as wanted it to be close, as much as wanted Gauff to force 3, it just always felt like the match was on Sabalenka's racket. And I think it feels that way because it is that way. There is no one right now on the WTA Tour who can go A game for A game with Aryna Sabalenka. And I just can't say enough about the work that she's put in, and her team, and can't give her enough credit. It's been really, really fun to watch her become not just a superstar, but a megastar. She is as good as I've seen a player be in years.
And she's getting out the Polaroid. Lovely work there. I couldn't agree with what you're saying there. You've probably seen from the Talking Tennis account, you can see that barring the 2 tournaments in Doha and Dubai, the 2 WTA 1000 events there, she has been in the final of every single either Grand Slam or WTA 1000 event since the beginning of the year, or since, Wuhan, actually. You can go as far back as Wuhan for the last time that she was not in the final of one of those sort of tournaments. And it's just been domination from Sabalenka. And again, she's got her sights set, as you would probably, I don't think it's out of the question to suggest that she is currently making herself the favourite for Roland Garros. I know that the big question is going to be Rome, to see if she can get either win Rome or at least beat Iga Swiatek at Rome to really make that sort of statement. It is all going incredibly well for Aryna Sabalenka, who is proving why she is the world number 1 and why she is the most consistent, and best player on the tour as it currently stands. And we may have to look back at this in a year's, certainly at the end of the year, to know how dominant Iga has been, how dominant Aryna has been, and enjoy those bits there. So we'll wrap up just now, because Zach, you've got a tennis game to go prepare for, and I'm sure that everyone would like to go watch the trophy ceremony. So it's goodbye from me. Any last comments before we leave?
Yeah, I just want to say, as always, to the chat, thank you all so much for keeping us company, for any questions you had, for speculations, ruminations, ramblings, comments, concerns, all of that. It's always a pleasure being on Talking Tennis with you, James. John, thank you so much for letting us do this and making all this happen. Also want to plug, again, Mario in Rome. Absolute must-see content. And then lastly, we got one more day in Estoril. At least, I think 1 more day. No, 2 more days in Estoril. I don't know. There's more time in Estoril. Check it out.
Certainly 1 more day in Estoril. And you could plug about Mario and whatnot. Do make sure that you tune into WTA Weekly, where Nick and Co will We'll go through what this means potentially for Roland Garros in a little bit more detail. I'm sure everyone will be curious as to Nick's thoughts about how this shapes up for the second Grand Slam of the year. And goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.